Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. Oh my gosh, look at that panel of Batman. You have the absolute, you have the DC Comics firing on all cylinders. Here we go, all you minties. I am the Uncanny Omar. You're watching Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. Join me today for my overview of The Secret Six by Gail Simone Omnibus Volume 2 from DC Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So here we have the latest DC Omnibus, and it is one of my favorite series. We had a volume 1 that came out, I think it was late last year, or early, no, it was late last year. And now we are wrapping up this era with a brand new era, and I'll talk about that here in a second, with Secret Six by Gail Simone Omnibus Volume 2. So the first thing we want to look at is this cover here, supplied by Nicola Scott. And this is showcasing our main characters throughout the book. So we've got Bane and Ragdoll and Black Alice and Jeanette and Deadshot and Scandal, Savage, and of course, Catman. By Gail Simone Omnibus Volume 2, Jim Calafiore, Tom Derenick, Dale Eaglesham, and Jason Wright. And then the spine of the book here featuring those characters, it is the images that we saw in the front. But these images come from inside of the panels from the book. Killing, backstabbing, and saving the day until their very last breath. By the way, I am loving these designs here. To kind of give you an idea of what it looks like next to Volume 1. Of course, the DC logo has changed. It is now the Bullet logo. But yes, this is how it looks, or will look, on your shelf. The stories in here have been previously collected in a series of trade paperbacks, and thick trade paperbacks as well, but they are all now in this omnibus. So let's take off the dust jacket, and that's cool too. Look at the flaps here. Gail Simone, Jim Calafiore, Tom Derenick, Dale Eaglesham, Jason Wright, John Cleese, and Travis Lanham. And then over here, we have some other key players that will play an important part in this particular omnibus. And those are taken from different scenes. This right here, of course, it's the same design. It's just black instead of white. And then the back of the book, again, showcasing... Actually, this is from the New 52 era of Secret Six. So yeah, this is a different, or two different eras. This is very unheard of that DC does this. They've done this before with Batman by Grant Morrison, going into the pre-New 52 and into the New 52. And there's another omnibus, but I can't say a word yet, that will do the same thing. And I think that one comes out maybe in 2026 or 2027. But mum's the word. All right, let's go ahead and open this up and talk about the type of stories found in here while looking at this artwork, checking out the extras, and of course the build of the book. Okay, let's go ahead and get this opened. I love the fact that we are getting end sheets now with some of the Omnis, not all of the Omnis, of course. But Volume 1 also had end sheets, like that design. And this is Secret Six by Gail Simone Omnibus Volume 2. And those are our main key players right there, along with others over here. Gail Simone, but also John Ostrander. Man, he is having a good year. You know, we had Suicide Squad, we've got his Spectre, and then doing some of the stories in here, but Paul Cornell, Keith Giffen doing the Doom Patrol crossover, and then we have the pencils of Jim Calafiore, Tom Derenick, Dale Eaglesham, Ken Lashley, Pete Woods, just to name a few, and inkers like Ken Lashley, Pete Woods, Drew Garachi, and Sean Parsons, Art Thibert, just to name a few of the inkers, Jason Wright, and Rex Locus, some of the colorists, and Travis Lanham, and Carlos M. Mangual as the letterers. And the collection cover artist, which we saw, was Nicole Scott and Annette Kwok. And again, I love the design and patterns for all of this. Table of contents, letting you know where you're going to find each and every one of these issues. And yes, there are page numbers and what you kick it off. One of the most important things to note here is the way that this is mapped. You'll see this story arc right here, which is a crossover with Ostrander's Suicide Squad. I love that issue, and I'll explain why it's crossing over. But you'll see after issue 18 of the Secret Six, you jump to issue 23. Why is that? It actually makes sense why they wanted to do that, but I'll explain more here in a second. And the remaining table of contents, and where you're going to find each and every one of these issues again. And your wonderful introduction, we don't really want to stop the show, about how Suicide Squad, or I'm sorry, Secret Six was over. It's hard not to call it Suicide Squad at times. How Secret Six was over, and then DC said, wait, you know, why don't we bring it back? We're rebooting the universe, we could do it again. Well, we'll find out how exactly it's done. But this is a great introduction, and I love the P.S. Enjoy the book from the wonderful Gail Simone. Collected in here is Secret Six, 17 through 36, issues 1 through 14 from Volume 4, as it was known, and that's kickstarted in 2015, and then Suicide Squad 67, Doom Patrol 19, Action Comics 897, and a story from Convergence Wonder Woman #2. The book has a total of 912 pages and retails for $125. And we kick the book off with spoilers! That's right, spoilers. I don't want to spoil this for anybody in case you haven't read it, but we kick it off with this part crossover here of Blackest Night. So Blackest Night was this amazing event where characters from the DC Universe that were dead were rising again because of the Black Ring. And you can find out who was behind all that by reading Blackest Night in omnibus format, or in absolute format, or in trade paperback, or one day compendium format. What DC did was extend issues of canceled series and bringing in dead characters from said series. So you had Starman, you had, what was some of the other series, like Catwoman, and of course, Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad ended with issue 66, but DC said, okay, let's go ahead and have John Ostrander write this with Gail Simone and have it be a crossover, not just with Blackest Night, but also Secret Six. So you will see members here of Suicide Squad, like Amanda Waller, and Bronze Tiger, Count Vertigo, and King Faraday. Who else? Rick Flag and Nightshade. And then, of course, the Secret Six, who during this time is basically Bane and Black Alice, Catman, Deadshot, Jeanette, and Ragdoll. And, of course, all being led by Scandal Savage. Although that shift of, of position changes from time to time. There are characters that die and then are resurrected with the Black Ring. So these characters are fighting off against the Secret Six and against some of the remaining Suicide Squad members. And all of this has to do with Amanda Waller wanting to recruit some of these Secret Six members for her own personal gain and mission. Is it creepy? Absolutely. Does it wrap up what happens? Like, who is the main villain there? Really, it was the Fiddler, who was part of the Suicide Squad, but because, well, this kind of spoils that he comes back from the dead, he did die in a mission before. Now, why is issue 23 in between these first three stories, or the 3-issue crossover and the next story arc? And I think that's exactly why. It's an issue that focuses heavily on Catman and Deadshot going on a mission, and it really doesn't affect the main storyline that is about to happen within the Suicide, or the Secret, God bless, I keep doing that, within the Secret Six. No, and don't get me wrong, every one of the characters are still there, but it mainly focuses on those particular characters of the Secret Six. Then we get into the Cat's Cradle storyline. This storyline, again, relies heavily on you having read at least Volume 1, because there's a character in here named Cheshire, and you have to know the relationship between her and the character of Thomas Blake, Catman, and having a child, because it all really relies on that. The fact that the kid, Catman's kid, has been kidnapped by perhaps the Church of Blood and somebody behind that, and now Catman has to go and get said child back. And this actually is a really powerful comic. Like, Sometimes it goes over the top with the violence, and that's why I love that. I love that Gail Simone never really pulled any punches when it came to this book, and you can see the kind of love that she had for these characters. But it really does feel like a Thomas Blake solo story through here. He's trying to get his son back that he had with Jade. And, I mean, and you saw what they did with Cheshire. But sometimes he goes over the edge to find his son, and some of the things that he does through here are just really powerful and emotional. I want to say it's kind of like Taken, but even Liam Neeson pulled back a little bit, whereas Thomas Blake is like, no, I'm going to do whatever it takes to find my child. And in a way, you kind of see yourself in there. This is one of those Western dream sequences. And then we get into the character select screen here. And yes, there is no, like, let me just show you. Let's get to the front here, where you have this issue right here. And it does tell you that this is Suicide Squad number 67. That's awesome. Does it do that for every single one of these? Oh my gosh, we're on a roll. Issue 18. No, it doesn't. It doesn't tell you every single time. So, which is a good thing that we have the table of contents and page numbers down here. So this is the next story arc in here that will kind of put the Suicide Squad at odds with each other. So this is the next storyline in here that will put the Secret Six at odds with each other, where we have the characters of Bane and Jeanette. They've split off from the rest of the team and have formed their own Secret Six. So you've got characters like King Shark, you've got characters like Lady Vic, Dwarfstar, and Giganta. And why exactly have they done that? Like, what is it about the Secret Six that has kind of kept them and broken up? Well, it's all due to Amanda Waller wanting to recruit some of these members. She ends up hiring some of the members of the Secret Six to take down Bane's new team now. So to kind of playing these characters against each other, which she's done in the past. Never trust her. And then again, this new team's been hired by Spy Smasher. Now, all of this is taking place in Skartaris, which is kind of like Marvel's Savage Land, where you have dinosaurs. And in here, you'll see Bane riding a dinosaur. You will see, oh my gosh, there's kind of like a throwback to Warlord, and I cannot wait for that omnibus. But it's Sir Thomas Blake as Warlord of Shambhala. And it's this big fight between this Secret Six that were friends at one time and this new Secret Six forces. And lots of like sword and fantasy type of stories through here is what you're going to find. And then we get into the next storyline right here, which ties it into the Black Ring story that was going on in Action Comics. So it's this Lex Luthor story against Vandal Savage. So this is where the Secret Six kind of find themselves in the middle of this big quarrel between Vandal Savage and Lex Luthor. And you have Paul Cornell writing some of it because of Action Comics, and then Gail Simone writing the rest of it. And you'll see these characters play bigger parts, bigger roles. I love how the spotlight kind of moves from some of the characters which we saw in the beginning, because I really love Scandal Savage. But now we've shifted the focus over to characters like Black Alice and Bane. Bane of all people, who actually kind of leads the last story arc in here. This is the crossover with the Doom Patrol. Now, this is the Doom Patrol during this particular time. And you'll have characters in here like Elasti-Woman and also Robot Man and Negative Man. Characters that you're probably familiar with in case you've watched the Doom Patrol show or have seen them cross over in the past with DC Comics. But there's also Ambush Bug in here and Bumblebee as characters that aren't really that popular. And then King Shark, which really, to me, kind of steals the spotlight some of the time through here. And Jeanette. I love the relationship between Jeanette and Scandal and how much respect they almost have for each other, especially towards the end of the storyline that kind of wraps up the first run. So after the whole crossover with Doom Patrol, where they have to go and fight Doom Patrol because that's what heroes do, especially when they have to fight each other to take over the, what was it? I think it was Oolong Island, if I'm not mistaken. And we have a To Hell storyline where they have to travel to Hell to get a soul back. It's almost like all of it set up from the very beginning of the Secret Six. It's the Get Out of Hell free card that we were given early on. and you'll see who they end up having to rescue, who gets left behind. And then the series really comes to an end when Bane decides that he wants to take the Secret Six, as he leads them, back to Gotham City, and in Gotham City taking care of the Bat family, like characters like Red Robin and who else, Nightwing, I think, at the time. That's what the last story arc is, and I think it wraps it up rather well, like trying to wrap up some loose ends. So what am I talking about when I said there are two type of universes collected in here? So after the series was over, after the final issue of the Secret Six, the fourth, or I guess it would be volume 3, issue 36, there was a crossover called Flashpoint where they rebooted the entire universe. And what DC decided was, okay, let's reboot the universe and bring characters back, but have their origin rebooted. Have them not know each other. And not everyone is like that, because Batman wasn't really rebooted that much, whereas like Superman had been rebooted. Or even Barbara Gordon, something had happened to her, not rebooting the entire origin, but kind of retconning some things. And that's the way this is read. This is the way that the Secret Six kicks off with issue number 1 of the New 52 era. And the New 52 era, we're going to have some new players in this. We're going to have some new things happening. So pretty much what ends up happening at the very beginning is we have this guy right here that is looking for Thomas Blake. His name is Agent Robbins, and he ends up getting killed, but at least recruiting Blake, who blacks out and then finds himself trapped in a room, almost like the movie Saw, but a little bit different. Now there's a voice that is heard introducing each and every one of these people to each other, so it's not just the character of Blake, who is of course Catman. There's a character in here named Connie, whose code name is Porcelain, and she has the ability to make things brittle. You've got the character of Shauna Belzer, who's the new ventriloquist. You've got the character of Big Shot in here. And then Big Shot has the ability to grow. There's the mysterious Strix, who claims was a former Court of Owls member. And then Black Alice. Now, because this is a new universe, and this gets a little bit confusing, the character of Catman and Black Alice don't really know each other. This is kind of like a new first appearance of Catman and a new first appearance of Black Alice. So think of it like that as you're reading this. I think they do a good job of telling you that, hey, this is all part of Flashpoint. It's a new world. A band of outcasts will come together to be the brand new Secret Six. But I think they leave out the part of how important it is to just acknowledge the fact that this is a brand new universe, that everything that came before it isn't true in this universe. So what these mysterious people that are all together do is they find this set of masks, and they're given instructions on what to do. They have like a time limit to try to put these masks on and unlock their powers to try to get out. And they will be going on, I love this cover, by the way, the censored cover, that's awesome. They will be going on separate missions and focusing on the different characters of the team. They'll be fighting some like elder gods, and I think in this series we still focus on the character of Black Alice through here. And this is what Catman's outfit looks like through here. And that's really all I will say about the series. The Convergence Wonder Woman part of that is in here as well, which just features, of course, the Secret Six. And I don't want to give away what else ends up happening through here, but basically the New 52 is mainly Catman, Porcelain, Strix, the Ventriloquist, and Elongated Man, and Black Alice. And then you will see a supporting cast of characters like Scandal, like Ragdoll, Knockout, and Jeanette showing up through here. But again, because it's a new universe, some things stayed and some things didn't, so just keep that in mind. So let's look at the back matter here. So we've got some variant covers, which we really didn't have a lot of at the time, and then we have the omnibus cover sketch there by Nicola Scott, and the actual cover with Annette Kwok, and then a serial backup artist, Jim Calafiore, doing a majority of this too. And just talking about how they were almost a Vertigo book. This is Ken Lashley and Dale Eaglesham doing the new 52 characters, including new ones like Porcelain. And behind the scenes as to how they created the characters. Layouts over here. You do have the issue number 14 script. It's not every page, but it's a lot of the script to the final page, and then the biographies on these wonderful creators. And even a last word here from Gail Simone, just talking about these memories, how sometimes wrong is right, and what these characters mean to her. Absolutely love this run. So, let's look at the binding. The book has a total of 912 pages, and it is printed in this glossy paper stock. Volume 1 was printed in almost like that satin paper stock. So now we're back to glossy, and it's a little bit of bleed through happening. And the way it lays over, you'll have minimal gutter loss. But that is it. That is the Secret 6 Omnibus Volume 2, and that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this omnibus, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up to complete your Secret 6 series, and what other Gail Simone run would you like to see collected in omnibus format. We know we're going to finish out the Birds of Prey. It's really freaking cool that we're doing that. But yeah, I would love to know what other era of DC Comics you would love to see collected in an omnibus format. But that is it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.